I can see Mr. Baraka is watching all the way from Kenya. I can see Mr. JKB Classic also is watching all the way from Kenya. Fidel is watching as well from Midrand, South Africa. I can see Mr. Mike Major from Zambia is also watching. As Mr. Stanley says, increase the volume. All right, so I'm gonna be increasing the volume. No stress. And maybe sometimes it's not the volume, maybe it's the placement of the mic itself. Maybe it was facing down. All right, so I'm sure the sound should be much better. Mr. Tabiso is watching. Tabiso Wa Maluti is watching all the way from South Africa. Thank you for joining. Let's share the stream. Let's share the stream. Let's see how many people are joining on TikTok. TikTok, they're saying you are loud and clear. Thank you. That is Mr. Skywalker is watching. Mr. Young Rich is watching all the way from Gambia. Let me know where you are watching me from, and if you can share the stream, I'll really appreciate. I would really appreciate. Let's see if there are people on YouTube as well. It's amazing, guys. It's amazing. This is the channel where you learn everything that is related to videography, anything that is related to content creation. So for some of you who have not followed me either on Facebook, TikTok, or who have not subscribed to my YouTube, please do so, because I've got a lot coming your way. This month end, I'm launching 5 new courses. There will be a smartphone videography course. That one is going to be amazing. Then there is After Effects, there's DaVinci Resolve, then there is how to create online courses in terms of everything that you need, from cameras, publishing, how you start earning money from your courses, and stuff like that. Then we have the last one, which has to do with YouTube. I'm teaching you how to record your YouTube videos in a professional way, how to create your channel in a professional way, how to monetize, and how to earn some living using YouTube. I can see Mr. Z Relic Vibes Cyrus watching from Zambia, Lukulu. Thank you, Mr. Cyrus, for joining. Watching all the way from Kenya, this is Mr. Sam. Thank you, Mr. Sam, ready to grasp some knowledge. I'm watching from South Africa. This is Oriero, also watching. That's great. Interested in these classes, but I have no startup equipment. Would love to learn though. That is Mr. CJ. Thank you, Mr. CJ, for coming through. I'm waiting for your questions. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer all those questions. Songi says, I just downloaded DaVinci Resolve. I definitely need that course. No problem. Month end, we are launching 5 new courses. That's why you see I'm always live. And you see, the good part with my courses, when I teach, I don't really teach things that people don't need, like just whatever that I know, you know. I always come here and ask a lot of questions from videographers. Some of these questions, these courses answer those questions. You know, I create these courses based on what people are asking. I arrange them in chronological order and answer them professionally with examples and combined with my knowledge. That's why my courses are by very far the best filmmaking courses you can ever get online. All right, let's see, Mr. Chabi, Kabi Photography is watching all the way from Kenya. Oh man, I have a lot of people watching from Kenya. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Let me know if you have any questions in videography. I'll be happy to answer. Mr. Pedro Jr. Commander is back in the base. Thank you, Pedro Jr., long time. Israel Kondo also is watching all the way from Zimbabwe. Thank you. I can see Obrel Masheko is watching from Malawi. That's great. That's great, guys. That's great. So what questions do you have in videography? So as I'm still waiting for your questions, there's a few people who actually wanted to know a little about LUTs, right? So in my course, I have a lot of LUTs, a lot of them. So let me just open the site here. I want to show you how LUTs can actually improve your color grading. So we're going to start with color grading today, just some tips on color grading. So if you have any questions, let me know. All right, so there's some misconceptions, especially when it comes to using LUTs. LUTs are just like really filters. You know, when you go on your Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok, those filters that you swipe to make your video look creative and look nice and stuff like that, those are LUTs. So we also have them in video editing as well. So if you are not really like so familiar with color grading, you can just pick one of those LUTs and slap them on your video, and your video will look good. So if you go on my channel here, if you go on my website, you'll discover that I have over 3,000 LUTs, and these LUTs are really cinematic LUTs that when you put them on your video, it will instantly look very good. So let me show you something. Let me just open Adobe Premiere Pro. If you have any questions, just let me know. All right, so here is the footage that I shot on Sony FX9. So it was a music video that I shot with director Zoro from Zimbabwe, by the time that I was in Zimbabwe. So we shot it in a flat profile, right? So if you don't know your way on how to color grade, you simply go to the Lumetri panel in Adobe Premiere Pro, and then you go to the section where it says creative section here. And here you are going to find all the LUTs. So I have loaded all these LUTs, and to show you how they actually can change your videos. If I go here, I can start scrolling through all the LUTs, and if I apply it, you can see that we already sort of like have some sort of color grading. So let me check for the one that I feel. You see, all these are presets. If you check this corner, which I'm clicking here, you see that all these are presets, right? I think I love that one. You can see your video instantly starts to look good. And for some of you who doesn't know how to load LUTs inside Lumetri color panel, let me show you. So if I go on my desktop here, I'll right click on the shortcut for Adobe Premiere Pro, and then I'll say open file location. And when I'm here, I'm just gonna search here LUTs. I'm just gonna search here for a folder of LUTs. There it is. I'll just open it, and then you go to creative. This is where all the LUTs are copied. So for example, if I had, let's say, I have some cinematic LUTs here, and these are my favorite LUTs. These are my cinematic favorite LUTs. For some of you who are watching today, maybe today I'll be very kind. After this live stream, I'll upload all these LUTs, right? So what you do is you just select all these LUTs, and then you copy, then you go to that folder. I have already pasted them here. So once you paste them here and you go to your Premiere Pro in the creative, those LUTs will appear here. The other way is you can just click on the LUTs folder there and then browse for LUTs. Then we look for the LUTs themselves, and then cinematic LUTs, and then you can just add which LUT you want to add on this video. Let's say, for example, Baby Driver. If I double click on it, you can see it has been applied to my video. All right, so let me say undo. So this is how the video was looking before the LUT. Let me do this. Before the LUT, the video was looking like this. But just after applying that LUT, now we are here. So if you are not really like so much into color grading and you don't understand, you can actually use these LUTs to make nice videos that look a little bit cinematic. You know, so if you know your way around, Premiere Pro, After you apply this loot, you can go inside the software and adjust it however you want. Maybe you can come to the color wheels here, and then maybe I would like to add some blue in the highlights, add some orange in the midtones, not too much. Double click, maybe add a little of orange, and then maybe in the shadows add a little bit of blue. Maybe decrease some shadows. And now you have something that almost looks like, oh man, the person who was color grading this video is a professional, but it's just a loot that you slap on your video. So it doesn't matter whether you are doing TikTok videos. If you want your videos to look unique and stylistic, better run them through an editing software and add some of this stuff. You'll be good. So if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, what PC requirements for DaVinci Resolve I want to buy, Mr. Pedro? Yesterday I spoke a little about the PC requirement. So if you have a PC that has got at least 4 gigabytes of graphics card and 2.4 gigahertz of a processor with at least 8 cores, and then with a RAM of about 16 gigabytes, that PC will work. Even the PC that I'm using now is a Legion. Lenovo. It is not really highly spec'd up, but it can do the job. It has got 32 GB RAM. It has got 6 gigabytes graphics card. It has got 3.4 gigahertz of the processor. So it's pretty a good machine, but budget-wise, the minimum requirement I can recommend for a PC, at least 4 GB graphics card, 16 GB memory, and at least 2.4 gigahertz of a processor, and at least 8 cores. Then you have smooth editing. All right. Let's go to the questions. Asa Esman is watching from Zambia. Explain all the steps in downloads and install plugins, effects, and transitions in Premiere Pro. So when it comes to effects, transitions, and all these things in Adobe Premiere Pro, the same way that you install other programs, that's the same way that you install some of these presets. Right, so if you are in my course, let me see if I have some softwares in this computer. All right. So let me just put this computer so that you can see. You can see these are all the softwares that I use in my computer, but most of them have already been installed. So if, for example, you want to install Fume Convert Nitrate, this is one of the wonderful softwares that I use. You just double click on it. You see a setup there. You just double click on it, and then the rest, it is just really like next. You have to actually, you see, the rest is just next. So I have already installed this software, so I'm not going to install it again. All right. So if you are using, let's say, you want to use Adobe Premiere Pro, I have a folder here, Adobe Premiere Pro 2022 Suite. These ones are offline installers. You can download them for free if you are in my class, or you can find them online somewhere. They are there. So mostly I use Adobe Suite, and mainly, let me just zoom here. All right. So mostly I use Adobe Premiere Pro, and mainly I use Adobe After Effects, Adobe Audition, Adobe Media Encoder, Adobe Photoshop, and Adobe Premiere Pro. So if you download any of these softwares from either my site or anywhere in the internet, you just double click on them. You see a setup there. You just double click on it, and then it will be next. It will not require you to enter your email or anything like that. So those are some of the softwares that I use when I'm doing editing. When it comes to the plugins, Element 3D, this is a software that I use to create 3D elements in Adobe After Effects. It's a very cool software. Installation is just double click. You can see the installer here, and there's instructions on how to crack to register it. All right. So most of these softwares are already installed, and then the other softwares that I use a lot is Red Giant Keying Suite. If I'm doing green screen stuff, you can see the setup is here already. The other software is Red Giant Shooter Suite. I love this suite. The setup is there already. You just double click, you'll see the setup is here. You just install, and if it requires you to enter a password or anything, some of those keys, you'll find the keys are already here. You just frames. I love frames a lot. I love instant 4K. I love Plural Eyes for syncing audio. I love Offload. I don't use it that much, but it is there when you need it. So those are some of the plugins and softwares that I use. And then Saber Installer. This is an After Effects plugin that I use to create cool Saber effects in my videos. Wonderful. And then this VB cable is a software for vMix. If you want to connect, especially if you are trying to live stream to Skype, if you are trying to live stream to Zoom, you need this software VB cable. It's a virtual cable for connecting audio, for routing audio from one end to another. Very cool. And then the other soft plugins that I use, optical flares. I cannot do without optical flares. So this one, you just copy this whole folder and drop it in After Effects plugins folder. Very simple to do. What other softwares here that I use? Not much. I use Neat Video a lot for cleaning sound, for cleaning noise from the computer, from my footage. I use OBS Studio for when I want to go live on Instagram. I don't like going on Instagram because people on Instagram are not serious. And then I use QuickTime Installer. This QuickTime allows you to play MOV files, Apple related, like ProRes codecs. It's a really codecs plugin or software that enables you to play Apple related videos and formats on a Windows computer. So sometimes you are trying to put a video, to play a video on your computer, on your Windows computer, and you see that it's not playing much, it's not playing smoothly, it's lagging. Most of the time, it's not because that your computer is slow, but some of these plugins are missing, right? So that's what I use QuickTime for. And then Red Cine, because I use Red Cinema cameras, this is the software that I use to preview my Red Cinema footage. And then Keylight Installer, very important software. It installs a lot of additional codecs in your computer. You know, sometimes some of you, you always have this problem to say, yo, my computer is lagging. Maybe it is too small. It's not the computer, you know. It is some of these codecs that are missing in your computer. It is some of these plugins that are missing in your computer. That's why your video is not playing. So I have actually created a video, so you should subscribe to whichever platform you are watching this video. I have actually created a video. I'm just still finishing editing it, how to format a computer, how to install all the system drivers and where to get them, how to install all these editing programs, plugins, presets, LUTs, and everything. So it's pretty a long video. I'm still working on it, but it's going to drop anytime soon. All right. Mr. Aubrey says, can you mention some video effects and plugins? I just did. I went through all of them. So if I went to the computer, like here, you can see I just added this LUT. You can go through the other LUTs and just find which one works. If you are not really good in color grading and stuff like that, you can go through all the LUTs that you have and see something that works. But remember, if you really want to learn color grading, I have a full course on color grading where I'll teach you everything that has to do with color grading. So it's really wonderful. The course is really wonderful. So these are some of the LUTs that are there. But for me, A fly just entered my spec, guys. It's out. Right, so for me, I don't really use loots, mostly because most of the projects that I work on, there are sometimes where I'll apply a loot here and there if the loot is in line with the kind of color that I want to achieve. And like I said, color grading doesn't really happen on the computer. So it is your camera settings, it is your idea of how you want the video to look when it's finished. You need to have a color palette, all the colors that you want to work with in order for you to achieve the kind of look that you want, right? Just don't go and shoot randomly and say, no, I'll just color grade it. Even the people in Hollywood, some of these videos that we shoot, if we give them to color grade, they'll just say, this is trash, man. How was the lighting? You know, how was, they will not color grade it because it was not shot properly. So you need to shoot with mind. You need to shoot in mind having the kind of color that you want to achieve. And this will control how you adjust your lighting. This will control how to, the kind of props you should use and what colors of those props, you know. Some of us, we use so many things. You know, if you took my color grading course, there's a topic there that talks about color contrast. You know, each and every color has got its contrast color, you know, like red, or let's say orange. The opposite of orange, it's teal. That's why you see orange and teal, you know, because if the skin is orange, at least for you to have color contrast, at least the background, let it be teal and stuff like that. So these are some of the stuff that you need to be considering when you are shooting your video and you are the one who is going to edit it and you are the one who is going to color grade it. Otherwise, most people who actually ask me, I'll be color grading a video. There's a musician who sent me, they shot their video already and stuff. So they edited the whole video. They just want me to color grade it. So I told them what is the color palette for the video. They sent me the color palette, and then I'm still going through the footage now to see what will work and what will not work and stuff like that. So that is the stuff. Okay. So someone is saying I should check my focus. I don't know if I'm in focus right now. All right. So Henry says kind of advise on the camera to upgrade from a DSLR for film. Okay, before I migrate to that question, I wanted to show you something on the computer here. So I have this footage, and I'm going to delete this color which is here. Delete, and this is the raw footage. So some of the plugins that I use, if I go to the effects window here, some of the plugins that I use is Colorista. Oh man, Colorista is not even installed in this computer. All right, I'm gonna install Colorista so that I can show you, but I've installed it on my main computer. This computer, I just strictly use it for live streaming. That is its job, and for some of these demonstrations. All right, so I use Colorista to color correct the footage, but sometimes I just really use the basic tool here to sort of like correct the footage, or you add some contrast, you add some shadows, you add the white balance and stuff like that. Very easy. Then I add my own color. That's a beauty. You have to actually really learn how to do color grading even before you start getting used to loots. Loots should just be helping you to make your workflow faster. All right. Mr. Henry Seth was asking, kindly advise on the camera to upgrade to from a DSLR for film. So for me, Blackmagic is always like the first choice. If you want that filmic look among these digital cinema cameras, I think Blackmagic has got a lot of options that are cheap as well. So if you can get a Blackmagic Pocket 4K, that could be ideal. And if you can get the Blackmagic Acer Mini 4.5 4.6K as well. Those are really good cameras. Even the old classic Blackmagic production cinema 4K, the boxy one like this, they are really good. They have got really nice filmic look. And yeah, if you have the budget, I will advise to get even like an old red cinema camera. You know, these days they're cheap. The one that I'm live streaming on now, I bought it for like 3,000 US, 3 point something thousand US dollars. Plus, of course, when you buy the battery expander, the side handle, the cage, the price really goes maybe 120, 130. So you can look among those. You can look among cameras like the Sony FS7, Sony FS5. Those are still pretty good cameras. But if you are really looking to get into the cinema world, some of the cameras that I really love the most, I don't know how much they are costing now, second hand, but I just bought Canon C300s, both of them. I just bought them second hand, and I bought each one of them for 1,600 US dollars. Really nice Canon C300 and Canon C200, wonderful camera. So those are some of the cameras that you can look at. All right. Mr. Knowledge Duze, watching all the way from South Africa, Mpumalanga. Piet Relief, thank you for joining us. Do we have any questions on, let's go to TikTok. Let's see, Facebook, I've answered most of the questions. Is there a charge attached to download those from your site? Actually, all those things are free, but you have to be enrolled in any of the course, right? So you can just go on the website and try to enroll on any of the course, then you have, you'll be able to download all the loots, all the presets and plugins, everything that I use in my computer is there. All right, which is the best drone that can shoot 4K? It goes with the budget. The higher the budget, the better. But among the cheapest, I think Mavic Pro Platinum is good. Mavic Air 2 is good. Mavic Air is good. All these are prosumer drones, and sadly, I don't use them anymore. You know, the only drone that I can actually, in that level, the only drone that I can still use now, maybe the Phantom 4, the original one, because I think the lens is bigger. It has got a bigger sensor. But Mavic Air Mini, Mavic Mini 3, those are really good drones. But yeah, for small, lightweight, and weddings and stuff, really good. So for me, I shoot most of my videos on cinema cameras. So I also need a cinema drone. So that's why I purchased the Inspire 2 because I can actually, I purchased the Inspire 2 with the Zenemos X5 camera, so I can actually change the lenses for the drone to get the look that I want. So obviously, the better, the higher budget, the better the drone is going to be. But all these prosumer drones, they're really good. I've been using the Mavic Air 3 lately. I didn't like it, but it still shoots really good videos. The reason being is when I'm trying to match the footage from a very small sensor camera like that Mavic 3 that we were using and my cinema camera, the pictures don't really like match properly because of the lenses and stuff. That's the only reason. But for you guys who are using DSLR cameras, who are using like these hybrid cameras, I think those drones are good. All right, what software do you use to compress for small size and high quality final video? This is Panache Dean is watching. So the software that I normally use to do that is, let's go to the softwares. It's this software called Handbrake. This software is a game changer. Or Handbrake is already installed, but it is called Handbrake. This small guy over here. So this is the software that I use to compress my videos in case I want to send the video to someone. I don't want the quality to be lost. At the same time, I don't want it to be so big. I use this software. So just go on the internet, Handbrake. It's a very free software. Let me show you where you can download it. So if you go on the internet, for some of you who are wondering where are your courses, these are all the courses that are available right now. You can learn a lot. You can learn a lot, and you get also to keep all these presets and stuff. So if you go on the internet here and type handbrake download, you see it is here, very free software. So this is the software that I use. You just click on that link and you'll be able to download it without any problems. All right, let's go through the questions. Chimani Mani, photographer, how do you manage your time, like workflow? Very easy, but it can be very stressful. For me, sadly, if you see me doing live like this, it's just really for the love of filmmakers, you know. I have led so many people to myself that they can get a solution for one or two things. So if I had just to follow my schedules, I wouldn't really have any time to do these sort of live streamings because I don't make any money from them. So for me, it is just really balancing between, because sometimes, like for me, I'm booked almost every day. Like almost every day, there's 2 or 3 people that want to work with me. So I don't really like want to work with all the projects. I like to work on one project, finish it, then go to the next one. So don't let money, the more you want to like, oh no, I have at least 6 projects that I need to work on, and it's going to be a really good deal. And then you pressurize yourself to take all the bookings. At the end, you actually really fail to manage all of them, or even focus and do a great job. So with me, I don't really like take a lot of projects. I always work on the projects that I have, and then I start getting other bookings as well. That's why most people who book me, you can't really come and book me like, oh, Mr. Pedro, I want to shoot a video next week. It's not gonna happen. That one I can assure you. Or Mr. Pedro, I want to shoot a video in 2 weeks. There's chances that it might not happen because my schedules are always really, like I have a book here. I have a book here, a notebook where I write all the projects that are coming, and it is always there with me when I'm editing to check. So mostly I have an organization, how I organize my projects, which one needs to be edited, which one needs to be shot after this one, and stuff like that. And most people who doesn't take videography as a career and professional, for me, I sleep late sometimes, maybe around 03, and I wake up maybe around 8. And when I wake up from 8 to 1 o'clock, I'm on the computer working on the project. I'll break for lunch and then go back to work again. And I'll have another break at 6 to, relax my mind, watch a couple of shows on TV, eat, bath. And if there's any other thing that needs to be worked on, I'll start again working around 10 until maybe around 2 a.m. So the routine keeps on like that for most of the time if I'm not shooting, if I'm at the studio editing and stuff. And also, you see, for the past 2 weeks, I've been editing, and all the projects that are upcoming, I'm giving them time that I'm gonna start filming first week of March, because this whole month I'm finishing editing the courses that I'll be launching by month end. So all the projects that are coming now, I'm slating them for March. And the first project actually is gonna start in Nigeria. So when I start filming again, I'll film 5, 6, 7 projects like what I did in Zimbabwe. When I went to Zimbabwe, I filmed about 13 projects. So when it's time for filming, I'll just be filming, and I'll always communicate with the clients when I'm gonna start editing, before I even go and filming, because I give them my schedule. So from your video on the 24th, from your video, I'll be shooting another video on the 26th, and I'll be shooting the 3rd video on the 29th. So all this time, I'm not gonna be sitting and editing. So I'll start editing on these dates. So it's really organized, and most of the time, I don't really have much time, but I always really try to squeeze. All right, let's go to TikTok. Let's see if we have how much for Sony a7 III loots. The loots that I have, all of them, they work across many cameras. You'll find there's a folder there of loots that has got Sony loots, that have got Lumix GH5, Blackmagic, Arri Alexa, Red. All those are already there, so you can just go on the website. Let's see how much those loots are costing on the website. It is $30. They are costing $30. And for some of you who wants video transitions and stuff like that, especially for music videos, they are all here. But if you get this premium access for $110, you have access to everything that is on this site. That is the beauty of it. And yeah, these are some of the payment options if you don't have PayPal. All right, let's continue. Hi Pedro, do you think you can achieve a good look video by using CineStyle in a DSLR? I don't know how I should explain this, but you can achieve really good video with that loot if you shot it properly and if you had that loot in mind, right? So for me, all my monitors that I use, or even the GH5 that I was using at some point, you can actually input a loot inside the camera and shoot using that loot. So you already know how the video is gonna look when you color grade it, right? So your CineStyle, the CineStyle can work and cannot work. It all depends on how you have shot the video. If you have shot the video, wrong exposure, wrong settings, no matter which loot you can put on that video, it's not gonna work. That's why it's very important for at least to have some knowledge, some basic knowledge. Even if you want to use these loots, at least get a course of color grading where I explain everything so that you have an idea, because I just really don't explain color grading itself. I explain things that you need to do before you shoot your videos, how you come up with a concept for the colors and stuff like that. All those things are there. So the site is ufc.unifyinventive.net. That is where my courses are. You can go on my bio. The website is linked on my bio. So after this live, just check my bio. All the links to my website, to my WhatsApp number, they are there. All right. We have a problem with the sound synchronize. Okay, so I don't know whether it is this live streaming that is having a sound sync problem or you mean that you have a problem when it comes to syncing sound. So for me, in the course, there's 3 ways that I have taught on how to sync audio. The other one is through multicam, very good way of syncing audio. You know, you just go in your folder, especially if, let's say for example, it's a music video, you put the song, the track, in the same folder where there is the footage, and then you right click everything, select all of them, then right click and then create a mount camera situation. Then it will sync all the clips to audio. That is the first way. And I think that video is on YouTube. So how to sync, yeah, the video is on YouTube, how to sync audio with video. Yeah, it's there. So I have explained those 3 ways. The other way is using ProRAW Eyes. It's a plugin. It syncs audio on your behalf, but the process is a little complicated. The other way is if you're not syncing so many files together, you can just put everything on the timeline, select them, and then go right click, then go to where it says sync audio. If you are using Adobe Premiere Pro, I don't know of other softwares, but if you watch that video, yeah, no, there isn't anything that changed. Okay, there isn't anything that changed. Sometimes if the internet is slow, you might think that the audio sync is not okay, but I didn't touch anything because here everything is fine. Thank you so much. Can I use Canon M50 for wedding video? You see, when it comes to wedding videos, you can actually even use your phone. Nowadays, these phones, if you have iPhone 16, Galaxy S22 Ultra, S23, you can use even a phone, right? But you see, if a client has hired you and you show up with a phone, they will lose faith in you, you know? They will not take you serious. So the Canon M50 is a really good camera, actually. So it can shoot good videos, but the way it looks so small, maybe get a cage, you know, look serious when you show on set and things like that. But it's a wonderful camera, can shoot nicely. The only trick though is to really get good lenses for it, maybe like a 24-70 f2.8 and really fast lenses. You're really gonna create nice videos. Really super camera, dual autofocus, good color science. It's a beast of a camera for such kind of stuff. All right, let's see what questions. G Major is asking, oh, my brother is watching all the way from Angola. Thank you, my brother. My elder brother, the doctor, is watching all the way from Angola. Thank you, my brother. What makes you different from other videographers? What makes me different is a lot of other things. It's a lot of other things. I've been in the industry, I think, for the past 18 years. And through that 18 years, I have evolved a lot. So what makes me different is I continuously learn. You know, other videographers, the moment I've seen even some of my students, the moment you just show them some cool tricks, they can edit, now they can color grade, they stop there. Me, I don't stop. I actually keep up with the current videography trends. You know, that's why each and every year I buy new cameras. You know, sometime maybe 2-3 months from now, you'll see I'll start giving away some of my old gear and stuff like that. And I'll give away those gears and get some other new gear, you know. So that is number one. That's what makes me different. Number two is I invest a lot. I invest a lot of time in this in this thing. I invest a lot of money in the equipment. You know, I don't like to struggle. But one thing I've seen with other videographers is they can use one camera for 3 years. You know, they make a lot of profits, but they go to drink money, they go and sleep with girls and stuff like that. So that's what actually makes me unique. I invest in my career like it's gonna end tomorrow. Every project that I do, 60% of that project comes back in the studio. All right. And then the other thing is, I think those are really two. The other things are just really like very small things, like that is my work routine, you know, and stuff like that. But yeah, it is just those two. I invest a lot in my career. At the same time, I continuously learn. You see, the things that I teach here is just some of the stuff that I know. But I always look at those things and see how it can be improved and stuff like that so that I can keep up and stuff. Some of the videographers that I started with right now, they have turned up to be my students. Because by the time we were together doing the same things, to them it was like they reached. Some of the gigs that I've gotten is from old people, old videographers. You know, artists have got a relationship with their videographers. And then after some time, they see San Pedro comes with this new style of editing, and what sets me apart actually is color grading. If you watch any of my videos that I've shot, you'll see that this is not an African way of color grading stuff. But like I said, those are just really small. So some of the videographers that I was filming with when I was starting back in 2010, 2012, 2015, they actually remained there in 2015. So now they can't really keep up with what is happening in 2025 and stuff like that. So they are obsolete, you know. They have an old way of doing filmmaking, and that's why I fight with so many filmmakers. That's why I fight with so many filmmakers when I tell them that you can actually learn videography in 1 month and start shooting good videos that clients can be happy. Everybody will be like, no, that's a lie. You know, videography is so hard to learn. You can take years and years. Of course, that is true, but they are using the old system of doing things. Nowadays, a lot of AI softwares and stuff, it's very easy. Cameras nowadays are so, the technology in the cameras have been so advanced that you don't have to go through the old way of doing things. And that's what used to take time. Nowadays, you have a Canon R5, which has got the best autofocus, which has got the best. Most videographers actually now, they don't even know how to do manual focus. You know, they can't even shoot with manual focus. Only us who started long time, who enjoys it, who knows, who understands. But a lot of videographers now, they don't even use manual focus because the camera is already doing that. Why should they waste time to go and start learning this kind of stuff? You know, unless it's niche. So that is what sets me apart. I evolve with technology. You know, before we used to edit a video maybe 2 months. Nowadays I edit a video in 6 hours. All right. This TikTok thing also, this TikTok is not okay, man. What is it saying? Okay, I want to join your team, please. This is Nana Kwamo, King Shark. Not a problem. Where are you from? I always have like students that I go to film with. No problem at all. If you are within, you can always come on set. How can I position a one light Amaran 200 XS setup for a talking head video? All right, so if you go on my YouTube, there's a video that I did, a studio tour where I was showing how I position my light. Right now, my light is just here. My light is just here. It's a soft box. That's why I have positioned it at 45-degree angle because it creates more of a natural, you know, the sun is always up in the sky. So I always position my light 45-degree angle, 45-degree to my side. No, now we are getting into mathematics, bearing. Those topics I never used to like them. Hey, you move at an angle of 30 degrees, bearing 45. But yeah, so I set my light up just above the camera in the softbox, 45 degrees looking down, 45 degrees to my side, so that I can have some shadows this side. And this side, I have a few lights. So if you watch my studio tour, you understand how I light. At the same time, if you have only one light, it's difficult, but there's some cool tricks that you can play with your light. There's what we call butterfly lighting, you know, where you put the light above your head such that this nose creates a sort of like a butterfly shape. There's what we call loop lighting, where you position your light on the other side so that your nose creates a loop on your cheek. There's what we call split lighting, where you position. All these are creative way of lighting. So all those kind of stuff, I have taught them in my course. It's doable. Sometimes if you only have one light, you can use another form of light, which is natural lighting, as another source of your lighting, all those kind of stuff. Mr. K Visuals says, man, measuring the angle. Usually, you know, once you do it for so long, it becomes like your second nature. I always know, like, right now, I don't know if you can see on my cheek, especially on this side, I'm always trying to go for sort of, there's what we call Rembrandt lighting, a very famous lighting, a very famous way of lighting, where the shadows from the key light create a sort of like a triangle on the other cheek. That's what I always really aim for. So just in my course, it's there. I've explained it, how to set it up, how to achieve the Rembrandt lighting and all these different types of lighting. But you can also go on YouTube and search what is Rembrandt lighting. You'll find a lot of videos there. All right, let's go to YouTube. Let's see if we have some comments there. Ooh, these are a lot of comments. All right. Is there a difference in Premiere Pro 2022 and 2025? I saw you were using 2022. There's also something that I call, when it comes to filmmaking, if it's not broken, don't change it. So for me, I think 2022 is stable. I don't really do a whole lot, like all the edits that I do don't really heavily rely on the software. There's what I call shoot to edit. So most of the time when I'm shooting, I'm sort of already editing on set. When I bring the video on software, it is just really like cutting, joining it together, doing color grading. If I need to throw in some effects here and there, that's it. So there is a lot of difference, especially 2025 and 2022. I was using 2025 at some point, but the computer that I'm using, it is just Adobe 2022. Adobe doesn't really change much. They've just added a few things, AI stuff, you know, like you can create you can get a video and auto create Instagram formats, you know, like 4:5 aspect ratio, 1:1 and stuff like that. Those are a few things that I've added, but there isn't really any difference. That's a good part with Adobe. You know, you can even go to Adobe 2017, 2018. You actually not miss anything because most of the stuff will be there. When they upgrade these softwares, Adobe doesn't really change much. Okay. How do we work on a white background, white clothes in terms of color grading in Premiere Pro? Okay, I don't know if I'm getting the question. I'm just getting it halfway, but I'm not getting the full question. So, white clothes in terms of color grading, in terms of Premiere Pro. Okay, so if you are working with everything that is white, mostly that is white, the major thing to focus on is just really the skin tone of your subject, right? I've taught a lot about these things. On my YouTube channel, you'll find videos where I'm explaining how to separate your skin tone from the whole subject and making sure that the skin tone color lies in the correct IRE, you know, on the what you call this, on the waveform, right? So that is not even really the most important. That is the technical part, trying to adjust. But if you are working on white, the biggest trick is in filming, right? So if you are filming a dark person who is wearing white clothes, that's a disaster. When you want to light their face, the white clothes will be blown out, you know, you will not have color information. So the trick is using soft lighting, you know, making sure you are using soft lighting and especially using also a camera that has got a higher bit depth, you know, like 10 bit, because that way in post you'll be able to reduce the highlights, you'll be able to reduce the whites in post and maybe focus on the skin tones and stuff like that. But the trick is in the filming itself. Make sure the subject is separated from the background. Even if it's white, you can do that using a backlight and stuff like that. So that's it. All right, watching from Zambia, this is official CP. And then I can see director Ino Films watching from Malawi. Let's keep the questions coming. I'm about to end the live stream, guys. I don't know if we are okay with TikTok. It keeps on cutting the live. But as long as we are live on Facebook and YouTube, it's not going to be a total waste. Okay, while you are still on Lutz, I'm using a 6D Mark I. Is it advisable to use Lutz? Lutz are just really like color presets. They are advisable to use with any camera. If we use Lutz, if you go to Snapchat, if you go to Instagram, if you go to all these platforms, there's Lutz there, there's presets there. Those are just really color filters. There is nothing really so special. Lookup tables, there's nothing so special about Lutz. It's just really color filters that have been created for videos, right? So the same people who created the loots for Instagram are the same people who create some of these loots. Even myself personally, the folder that I just showed you about, those are loots that I create for myself. So it doesn't matter which camera, which form of camera you are using. I use loots on my phone footage. I use loots on my cinema footage, on my DSLR. It doesn't matter which camera you have, which video you are working on. If you see that this loot can change the way I want this video to look, then you can slap it there, do a few adjustments and export it, forget. Okay, master, do you have a tutorial on special effects? So that is the course that I'm still working on right now, Adobe After Effects, where I'm gonna be showing you how to create motion graphics in Adobe After Effects. That's there's a lot of cool stuff there, set extensions, you know, some basic visual effects and stuff like that. So that is the course that I'm working on right now. And for some of you, if I go to my website here, you will see that the premium access will give you, the premium access right now is $110 US. It will give you access to everything that is on this site for life. But once I add more courses to this site, this premium access, maybe it will go to 150 US or $200. So for some of you who are delaying to join now, by the time the 5 other courses are dropping, it will be very expensive. So you might as well just join now. Start learning what is there as you're waiting for what is coming as well. All right, catching up live from Uganda. This is Mr. Robert. Thank you for joining. Mr. Raymond also from Uganda. Thank you so much for joining. Let's hear the question. What is the secret behind exposing a small file? What is the secret behind exporting a small file but high quality in Adobe Premiere Pro? I usually have large files. So the secret is in bitrate. So if you go in my course, I described a lot about what is bitrate. Bitrate is the amount of data that is being transferred in a video per second, right? So the higher the bitrate, the higher the quality. The lower the bitrate, the lower the quality of the video. The higher the quality, the higher the bitrate, the higher the quality and the larger the size of that video, file size. And the smaller the bitrate, the lower the quality and the lower the file size of that video. So you need to strike a right balance, especially when you are exporting your video. So for me, when I'm exporting my video, let me just go quickly back to Adobe Premiere Pro. All right, let's say, for example, this is the video, I have edited it and it's done and I'm about to export it. So I'll go to the file in the corner here. Let me just zoom so that you can see. I'll go to File, and then you come to Export, and then Media. Okay, so this is the export setting. This is the export setting. So I've never even exported anything here. So for the format, mostly if you are posting videos for TikTok, YouTube and stuff, mostly for the format I use H264, but you can choose any other format from the list. There's a lot of formats here. There's QuickTime, MOV files, all these formats, but the one I use is H264, is the current standard, but H264 is almost like an old school. Nowadays, people use a lot of H265. It exports high quality videos with a lower file size, but the format is not supported in most players, so I just stick to H264. And then down here, there's a preset. Down here, there's a preset, right? So you can actually choose from all these presets that are here. So it depends where do you want to post to export your video and stuff like that. So for me, I usually use a preset here, which is, if I'm exporting a high quality HD, I'll select that one. If I'm exporting high quality 4K video, I'll select that one just as a preset, but that is, I'm still gonna change a few things again. So here, the output name, you just direct where you want your video to be saved. I'm just gonna say sample, and then you say save. And then we go to the export settings here. And then on the video here, you can see the video was shot on true 4K, on 4K DCI, which is 4096 by 2160. But the preset that I've chosen is Ultra HD, which they also call 4K, but it's not really like true 4K. We call it Ultra HD, which is 3840 by 2160. You can see the file, the resolution here, the dimensions here. So because I want it to be exported in the same format that I shot, because I want a true 4K, on here on video settings, the first button I usually just click it. I just usually click this one to match the source. So once it matches the source, you'll see even here it will change. Let me zoom here a bit again. You see it has now changed to 4096 by 2160 because I shot it in 4K DCI. And then if you go down here, you see the estimated file size is 246 MB. So how do we reduce the file size yet keeping high quality? Very easy. So we're gonna go back a little to video format here. You're gonna scroll down. Here I like to click this maximum render settings so that I can render at a maximum depth of that video. And when you come here, bitrate encoding, this is where the magic happens. So I don't know if you can see. Yeah, let me just put it on this side. So you can see the target bitrate here is at 80 megabits per second. So if I reduce this one, let's say to 40 megabits per second, you see what will happen to the estimated file size. If I click OK, you see that now the estimated file size now is 123 MB. Right. Here also when I'm exporting, I forgot to mention, I usually put it on VBR2 pass because it helps to render all the effects properly. It takes time to render, but it renders everything properly, especially if you are using heavy effects and stuff like that. So if I put the target bitrate to be 40 megabits per second, I also put this one to be the 40 megabits per second. Right. So now the cool trick here is, if you are exporting a 4K video, using a lower bitrate, the video will look muddy. Let's say, for example, you are using 40 megabits per second. 40 megabits is high. Let's say you want the file size to be very small, right? Then you choose to use, let's say, 5 megabits per second. If you are using 5 megabits per second to export a 4K video, the video will look muddy. It will look pixelated. So the higher the resolution, the higher the bitrate. The lower the resolution, the lower the bitrate. So what I usually do is, if I really want to shrink the file to a small size, when it comes to 4K, the minimum limit for me is 30 megabits per second. When I'm exporting full HD video, the minimum for me is usually 16 megabits per second. When I'm exporting half HD, the minimum is 8 megabits per second. That's how I usually export my videos. But there are some times whereby I want the file to be really small but yet having good quality. I will export the video maybe the half HD at half HD and 3 megabits per second. That is the only trick to getting your videos looking really high quality, lower file size. All right, let's continue with the questions. I'm about to end the live stream. Felicity is watching all the way from DRC, Congo. I bought a new machine yesterday, 16 GB RAM, Intel Core i7 processor, and stuff like that. I want the configuration for my video editing, all that. What to do? What are the main apps that I should face? So I slightly spoke about it. It really depends what you want to do on your computer. So for me, editing, I normally install these 5 softwares: Adobe Premiere Pro, After Effects, Adobe Audition, Adobe Photoshop, and Adobe Media Encoder. Those are the softwares that I use for my suite because I like this suite. I can work on a project in After Effects whilst opening in Adobe Premiere Pro. I can link these projects to work together. I can open a Photoshop file in After Effects and stuff like that. That's why I love Adobe. For some of you who are wondering, hey, but DaVinci Resolve is fire. It's also fire. It's unique in its way, but it's just a standalone software, you know. So for some of us who work different things in different apps, I think Adobe for me works properly. So those are some of the stuff that I use. And if you want to really get a lot about the knowledge and stuff like that, maybe get into my course, video editing, because that's where I describe all this kind of stuff, how to format your computer, how to install programs that I use and stuff like that, some of the plugins that I use. All these things you just really can't be taught. You can be taught. I use Neat Video to clean audio, to clean noise. Then you can maybe try it out. If it doesn't really work for you, maybe it's not for you. So it's just really what you want to do with your computer or how you want to edit your video. Some of the plugins that you'll be recommended to, you might not even need them, you know. I can say, oh, me, I use King Suite for keying green screen, and you don't shoot green screen, so that plugin will be useless for you. So what is really important to you? You need to ask specific questions. All right, I've been wondering, all right, I'm a beginner, but I have learned a lot from you. Now I want to start my career started. Salute. That is Felicity. I've been wondering, like I use Premiere Pro of 2020 version. I'm asking if it can lead to the low quality of my videos because I did not update it. Thank you. No, it cannot lead to any low quality of your videos. Maybe there might be some stuff that are being added to the later versions, but like I said, Adobe Premiere Pro doesn't change a lot. So the quality of your videos really come on how you created your sequence, how you edited, the frame rates you used, and how you exported your video. That is what will determine the quality. So an older version of a software is not necessarily gonna reduce the quality of the video because Adobe, like I said, it doesn't change much. All right. I can see, please, how do you stream to all these social media platforms at once and your streams are high quality? I have a course, Live Streaming Pro. I have taught everything that you can think of when it comes to live streaming, how to live stream to multiple platforms, how to set up your stream so that it doesn't really have trouble when you are streaming, what kind of equipment, even how to live stream with your phone. In fact, I think tomorrow when I come live, I'll be using my phone and you'll see the quality will still be looking like this. There's a way that you can live stream with your phone, with a camera and stuff. I've discussed all those things in my course, Live Streaming Pro. So if I'm a teacher and I teach live streaming, it's evident that I know exactly what I'm teaching. That's why my videos are high quality. All right, so when it comes to live streaming to different platforms at once, it's a simple connection. I use a program called vMix to push my stream to Facebook and YouTube. And then I use TikTok Studio to push my live stream to TikTok. But I get the feed from vMix. If you look in the background here, you will see on this side actually, you will see on the other monitor there, I'm capturing that screen and sending that signal to TikTok so that I can live stream everything at once. It's just some simple connections. If you go on my YouTube channel, I have taught how to live stream to Instagram from a computer. So if I really wanted to add Instagram now, I could just use OBS and push the same image to Instagram. But people in Instagram, slay queens, people just want to show off. They have no business with this kind of stuff. So I never really go live on Instagram, even though I have a bit of followers there, but it's just People are not serious in life. Why are you still using Premiere Pro 2022? Because it still has everything that I need, you know. The updates that were updated in 2023 and 2024, I never really needed them. Even the ones in 2025, I've looked at them. I've never really needed them because my workflow doesn't really require me to do some AI generations and stuff like that. So 2022, very stable plugin, very stable software, and you can get it for free, you know, on the internet. So it still does exactly what I want to do. Maybe in future when I migrate, oh man, we want to do some AI generations and stuff like that, then maybe I'll consider a software that has got those things, you know. And that's why I keep telling people to say, it doesn't really matter which software you want to use for editing. If your job as an editor, remember, video editing is simply the cutting of clips, joining them together to create a flow of a story. So if CapCut can do that, you don't need to be put in a pool whereby, oh no, you need to use this software, it is the best. It is not the software that edits, it's a person who edits. So if you do simple clean cuts and stuff like that, you can even use Sony Vegas as long as it has got the tools that you need. So when you're looking at a software, you are not really looking at what other people are doing it. You are looking at it from the point of what you actually want to do with that software. Okay, I want to add some effects at some point. Does this software allow me to add effects? If it doesn't, then look for a software that can do that. It is really knowing exactly your workflow and your editing workflow. These things of experimenting things that you don't understand, I think it's gonna bring your work very slow, you know. So for me, 2022 Adobe still works perfectly without no problem. I still color grade my videos. I'm editing a video after this live Adobe Premiere Pro 2022. All right, thanks very much, sir. Salute from Uganda. This is Mr. Kenzo Dastan. How do I get your course? If you go on my bio, on my About section, you'll find my website there. You'll find my website there. If you navigate to UFC, if you navigate to this, let me just zoom that part a little. This is the website itself, ufc.unifyinventive.net. Once you are in this website, it will land you on this page here. Here you can have premium access, which gives you the access to everything that is on the platform. But if you want to be specific, maybe you want to learn about cameras, you can grab this course here. If you want to learn about video, you can grab this course individually. If you want to learn about the business side of videography, all these courses are here. Live streaming is here and stuff like that. And maybe you want just some transitions. There's over 1,000 video transitions for Adobe Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, and DaVinci Resolve. There's some lens flares, cool lens flares, a lot of really assets that can make your videos stand out. So that is where you get the courses, and all the pricing is there. All right. Do you prefer using a Mac or a Windows computer? Why do you choose one over the other? Lastly, do you use DaVinci Resolve for editing or you use Premiere Pro? Sly Mlamuli Ngwenya is asking. So for me, I use Windows computers for a lot of reasons. Number one is with Windows computers, I use these computers to experiment with so many softwares, to try out so many softwares. With Windows computer, you have a back door where you can actually download a free software and try it out. With Apple, not so much. It limits. With iMacs, I was using iMac in 2016. Everything that I wanted to install, you won't really get a lot of items for free for Mac computer. That is the only disadvantage. And when it comes to the software, I have already explained. I was using DaVinci Resolve mainly for color grading back in 2015, because I bought that Blackmagic 2.5K RAW. It was a hit at that time when I bought it, and they gave me this dongle, you know, this key for DaVinci Resolve. So I was doing everything in DaVinci Resolve. But then when I migrated to Other cameras like the Canon C200 at some point, Canon C300 at some point. I think I liked the workflow in Adobe Premiere Pro better because you can edit and do color grading there just like DaVinci Resolve, but the ability to connect it with other Adobe softwares like After Effects where you do visual effects, to link it with Photoshop. You know, sometimes you are trying to clean sound. Maybe the sound was having noise. You can just open that sound in Adobe Audition, clean it, and it will be updated in Premiere Pro. So that's why I like Adobe Premiere Pro. But either of the software, whether DaVinci Resolve or Adobe Premiere Pro, there's no software which is better than the other. That's lies. It depends really exactly what you are looking for in a software. Okay. Aurelio is asking, Gandhai Ndebele is asking, this is not a question but a request. I'm asking that when you are doing tutorials of any kind, please remember us, the ones we are using DSLR cameras, old cameras. Of course, I'll remember you going forward. I still use the GH5, you know. I have a lot of cameras. If for some of you who are following me, you remember I posted about 24 different types of cameras that I was selling, because those cameras I was just using them for creating content and stuff like that. So I don't really like teach on high-end cinema cameras and stuff unless it's not related to how big the camera is, unless maybe I'm just trying to do color grading and it doesn't really matter what kind of a camera it was shot on. So I'll always remember that. I always remember that because I know mostly the people that I teach are beginners. They don't really afford these high-end cinema cameras. So I always keep an eye on that. Most of my videos on YouTube, most of them, they're shot with DSLR. What software is best in editing? There is no best software. There is no best camera, no best software. There's just expensive cameras and cheaper cameras, and there isn't any camera that is better than the other. There is no camera that does it all round. So it really goes with the specs and with your technical knowledge. If you're buying a camera, for example, what specs are you looking for in a camera? You will never get a camera that can do it all. Never. And there is no camera that is better than the other. Even the first cameras, those HD cameras, until today, they still have their own uses, depending on the kind of story that you are creating. But if you are starting videography in 2025, get among these DSLR cameras like Canon 250D, 70D, and stuff like that. Don't go and get those handycams. Not because they are obsolete. You can't just use them as main camera, but the footage that still comes from those handcams, they can help telling a story. Remember, maybe sometimes you are filming someone who is dreaming when they were young in 1980 something. Using a handicam to film that footage to show when they were young, it will add more meaning to the story than if you used your latest DSLR. So each and every camera has got its own specific use. The problem with filmmakers, they buy wrong tools for the right jobs. There is no way that you can get a Lamborghini and use it in construction. Then when you see that it cannot move, then you say, no, Lamborghini is a bad car. No. You just picked the wrong tool for that job. And that is the problem with most filmmakers, because they just ask around, so which camera can I buy? Someone will recommend, you want a cheap camera, get a GH2. Then you get a GH2 and you want to shoot a feature film on the GH2. And then you see that maybe it's struggling with dynamic range, the screen is still poor and stuff like that. You say, GH2 is a rubbish camera. No, the GH2 can still work. If you go on my YouTube channel, there's a tutorial that I created about the GH2, the review about the GH2. You'll be shocked at how amazing. In fact, I compared the GH2 with the GH5. Most people couldn't even tell the difference between the cameras, right? They can still work if you use them properly and if you pick them correctly. If I'm going to a place where they might not really need bigger cameras, that's when those cameras can come handy, you know. or even your phone. That's when they can become handy. So always, as a filmmaker, keep that in mind. Don't just being told, go and buy this kind of a camera. Learn a little bit about that camera. Try to understand what it's comprised of. Try to understand what kind of content you want to start making. Don't just pick a camera and go and guess your way in filmmaking. All right, can I use GoPro for wedding and music videos? You can use GoPros for such events, but not as your main camera. Maybe you want to get a certain wide angle from a certain corner. You can use them as maybe B cam or C cams and stuff like that, in just helping you to get extra angle. But I wouldn't recommend you to use a GoPro as a main camera for the wedding. GoPros are actually action cameras that you stick to maybe your motorcycle or maybe when you are diving and stuff like that. So that is where they shine. But if you bring them outside of the water and take them to the wedding, they might not shine much, but maybe when you are doing a music video, you want some creative wide angle, you can use them that way. So what camera can I use for live stream in church? I have a tutorial that goes church live streaming on my YouTube channel that goes through, actually the topic of that tutorial is how to connect church live streaming. I went through different types of cameras, from the cheapest cameras that sells at $50, not even 50, cameras that are selling at $30. In that video, you'll find them. If your church is small, maybe you just want to start, you can go there, and all the way to, like the NX cams that are slightly expensive, like 3,000 US dollar. So everything in between, capture card, computer, connection, light, and everything, they have all been discussed in that video. That's why most people who are watching, they don't bother to subscribe. They don't bother to subscribe because some of the time, once I see a question that is coming consistently, I'll just create a tutorial so that people can just watch it and stuff like that. I'm not really creating this YouTube channel so that I can have a lot of subscribers and stuff. YouTube pays. I actually got paid for the first time 2 months ago. They paid me about 15,000 rands, which is like a little over $800. And a month later, I was also paid like $200, or, it pays, but that is not the main source of income. My YouTube channel is just really for filmmakers. That's why in most times when you watch my videos, I don't even ask people to subscribe or what. I'm only asking you now because you should not fail to miss some of those important videos that are already there on my YouTube channel. Okay. What are the procedures in shooting in busy scene like a road? The best procedure is location scouting. Before you go and shoot, go and check the place itself. Try to gauge how busy that place it is and schedule the right time to shoot there. And the biggest trick there is just in preparation, is in going to scout the place and seeing what will work and what will not work. Because if you just take a camera and just go in the road, some people will even be shocked to see, hey, maybe even the police can come. Ask around, do they need permission for you to come and shoot here and stuff like that? What will be the correct time? If you want the crowd of the road and the people, maybe. But if they are not needed, those people might really disturb you. Someone will just be standing at the back, posing for the camera, yet they are not part of the story. So it is just in scheduling. So sometimes even here in Johannesburg, it can get really, really busy. But if you start your shoot around 5:30, 5 a.m., the road is still pretty clean. And those are really like good times to shoot and stuff like that. So the trick is in preparation. Fine, I'm about to close now. Let me just go to Facebook one more time because I haven't been reading comments from Facebook for the longest time. Okay, we have about 29 questions. Let me see. What software do you use to compress for small? I answered this one, Handbrake. Which is the best drone that I can shoot 4K? I answered this one. Is there a charge attached to you? I answered this one. Please, can you mention some of, I did these ones. Okay, most of them I answered actually. I want you to be teaching me the whole videography. If you want me to teach you the whole videography, just enroll in my course. It's the easiest and fastest way. Once you enroll in my course, just ask from any of my students that are there. If you are going through the material itself, which is rare that you actually ask me a question, because my course, like I said, I took my time to understand exactly what people want to learn in videography. Plus, using my skill of knowledge, I have created my course in such a way that you can learn on your own and actually start shooting good videos. But where you get stuck, I have a WhatsApp number where you can call me sometimes with a video. I can help you with settings and stuff like that. That's how I conduct. This is not like a business where I'm trying to make a lot of profit. Even the monies that pay, it actually goes mainly to the platforms and the security of the software itself, right? So the best way, if you really want me to teach you videography, the best way is to get the course first, have a 1 week to go through the material, then we can start talking, because I'll not be explaining things over and over again. Mr. Blessed Mr. Blessed Mike B. Mwemba is watching from Zambia. What make you to become different for, okay, I answered these ones. I want to understand more about color palette and how to match colors when shooting music videos. I'm Musonda Fisonga from Lusaka, Zambia. All right, so let me show you something here. Okay, just also on this live stream, this video is live, right? You can see I'm wearing a red beret, but the background color there is blue. You can see how the live streaming is popping out because I know how to balance the colors. I know I am orange myself in color. I don't know what color I am. I am orange. So for me to have like a good pop, for my skin to pop up, I need to have a contrast color at the back. That's why you can see that teal light is there. So all these small things that I've put here, all these small colors that I've put here, they're actually really just making me to balance up colors and for this stream to look high quality the way it's looking. There isn't really anything about high quality. It's just really the balancing of the colors, even if it's live. And if you take this video and you want to grade it, it's very simple. You get a really blockbuster kind of a look because I already balanced everything. So let me show you something about a color palette. I just hope I'm not going to take so much time. Color palette. Let me just go to the images and see maybe. All right, so, okay, you see this, let's say this picture right here, it's a color palette. So what this means is whatever that you are going to shoot, right, let me just zoom it a bit. So if you are going to shoot a video and this is your color palette, so these are only the colors that you want to see in your video. So if someone comes with a green outfit, you'll be able to check your color palette to say, we don't have anything that is green. I think you should change that dress and wear something that is red because the color palette we are using. And this color palette will even guide you into making sure that the set designer put the correct colors. And that's where people miss it, man. Like, I just wish people can get this. That's where people miss it. You can just really go and randomly shoot your video and really want to do a good color grading. It's not going to work. You do it to some extent, but it's not going to be perfect. So some of us, when I'm going to shoot, I know the look that I want. And I know the colors that I want for that look. So once I know the colors that I want, I'll create a color palette that I'm going to use to follow, you know. So when I go on set, I see, okay, the look that I'm going for, I don't really want a lot of red. So remove that red bottle out. No, the cape that you are wearing is red. I don't really want it because of the look that I'm going for. That's what makes you look like this guy knows what he's doing professionally and stuff like that. So that is about the color palette. It's just really a color pattern that you need to follow when you are doing this, some of this stuff. Sometimes in the editing software like Adobe Premiere Pro, I can change this hat, even if I'm wearing it live like this. I can change it and put it another color. which is still okay. And that's when color grading professionally comes in. That's when it kicks in. So if I'm following this color palette and I can see that my heart needed to be green, I can change this, only this green in the color grading process. So when it comes to color contrast again, if I go in the computer here, I'll type, let me just show you something here. Color wheel. So if you want to have like a really good grading as well, you need to know how to balance your colors. Each and every color has got its own opposite color, right? So this is the color wheel. Mostly people's skin tones are usually on the orange here, orange, yellowish, reddish with these three. That is where the skin tone usually is. That's where it lies. But each and every color here, you can see orange is blue. That's why even on my live here, I am sort of like orange and I've put blue in the background. It is not by accident. I knew exactly what I was doing. Okay? So if you go back here as well again, you see red and green. So you can match it with red and teal, red with light green, whichever the case. That's why you see if also in the background, I have something there that is greenish, tealish, and stuff like that. So that is color balance. So if you want to have what we call color contrast, I think I've taught this in my color grading course. If you want to have color contrast, you need to know which colors go with which. Otherwise, your video will go very, 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 very south. Because some of you go and shoot a person like me with an orange skin on an orange background. Then in editing, you want to separate the skin from the background. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Because the same tone that is on my skin is the one that is on the background. So you can't separate the two. Unless it's a creative look that you are trying to, but it's not going to just work. So whenever you are filming, be mindful what your talent is wearing. You know, the only time that you should not be mindful is when maybe you are doing events, live events and stuff where people just come randomly and stuff. And that's where you use backlight to separate people from, you know, the background and stuff like that. But if you are shooting something like a music video, everything there is intentional. Everything there is intentional. All right. So it helps a lot to sort of separate your colors on set. Because like the way I'm putting on this blue shirt and my background is blue, it is going to be very difficult for me to separate this from the background, you know. So if I have to color grade this footage, I'm the only one who is gonna pop, and that is the whole idea. Okay. You do yourself a really good favor if you just joined my courses, because all these things are there. Okay, what happens to presets when it is graded using Magic Bullet? Then when you put that preset on a layer, it shows X. It's because the Magic Bullet you are using is not registered. So if you're having that problem right now, go to my Facebook page, Unify Online Filmmaking Classes. There's a post there where I have plugged Red Giant that has got all the keys. I've plugged there, Neat Video, I've added Colorista, all those plugins, I've pinned them on my on my official Facebook page. In one of the comments, it is there. So just go and download those ones. So it shows an X like this because it is not registered. All right. Mr. Chimanimani Photographer says, thank you. You are welcome. Watching from Zambia, Mr. Stephanie. NW Thompson, watching from Zambia. I'm a beginner in videography. Thank you for joining. This is the best place you can actually get started in your videography. What are some of the affordable laptops for video editing, Mr. San Pedro? Some of the affordable laptops, it depends how you want a second hand or a new one. I'm looking for the term. You want a used or a new laptop. But when it comes to the laptop, the cheapest you can get for the specs that you need is the best. So like I've been saying, at least get a laptop with 4 gigahertz, with 4 gigabytes graphics card, 16 GB RAM, 2.4 gigahertz of what you call this, of processor, at least with 8 cores, at least i7. Then you are good. So there isn't really like a brand. You know, if you are asking for brand, I don't go with brand for anything. I go with the specs of the thing. When I'm looking for a camera to buy, I'm not looking at Nikon or Fuji or no. I'm looking for which one among these brands has got the specs that I need. That's what I go for. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the brand that you shot the camera with. It's about having the correct specs that is needed for your video. Even if they can make a camera that can auto zoom right now, as long as it doesn't have the specs that I need, as good as it can be, but if it doesn't have the specs that I need, that camera will be very useless to me, very useless. So if a Netflix project comes and say, we want you to shoot this video at 6K, then there's this cool camera that can do everything, but it can only shoot in 4K. That camera will become useless. So when you are looking for gear, don't look at the brand itself. Look at, some brands have got reputation like the Red cinema cameras. Whenever I show with the Red, oh man, I look very cool. But this Red camera, if I can give it to somebody else to go and film really good videos, it will be impossible. So don't go with the brand, go with the specs that is needed. Okay, Mr. Elton is watching all the way from Zimbabwe. Thank you so much, Mr. Elton. Mr. Frio eBest is watching all the way from Nigeria. Mr. Lombe Warrior for enjoying, he's saying Mr. Lombe Warrior is watching all the way from Zambia as well. Prophet Tatenda is joining us as well today. Best teacher so far. Thank you so much, Prophet. All right, let me just read the, oh man, there's so many questions, you know. Is Sony a7000 good for professional filmmaking and photography? It's good. There's levels of professionalism in filmmaking. You know, you can create a professional wedding video, you can create a professional feature film. So even though some of these cameras are really good, but there's points where they start to break, you know. So overall, it's a really good camera. I know it personally. It's a really good camera, but it also goes with how far you want to push it, you know. To be honest, most DSLR cameras now are really good. Most of them are really good. What you get out of those cameras is just really your knowledge and your skill and how you use it. Even a camera like a 5D Mark I, a 5D Mark II, shooting HD, that camera is still really good. Full frame sensor, very good camera. But because it's an old camera, it doesn't really have a lot of new tech and stuff like that. People are like, no, this camera is bad. But if it is in the hand of a professional, you won't believe. Even now, if I can challenge you to go and search footage for 5D Mark II, short films that were done on 5D Mark II. In fact, there's a video, I don't know, maybe one day I'm going to link it, where they hacked the 5D Mark II in order for it to shoot 4K and shooting flat, shooting at 10 bits, you know. So most of these DSLR cameras are really good. What matters is how you get and how you use it and how you want it to help you. You know, if you are a beginner, I recommend for you to get a camera that has got fast autofocus, good color science. Because you are a beginner, you still have to learn a bit about playing around. Like for me, I can shoot with a camera like any camera. I'll still be able to get the proper footage because I'm slightly experienced in handling cameras and editing. Thanks, boss. I'm watching from Nigeria. You are welcome. Mr. Wakili Ododo also is watching from Nigeria. Thank you, sir. All right, please, I need a video switcher and a laptop stroke desktop. Also tell me which is preferable for streaming in my church with a budget of $700. So go to my YouTube channel. There's a lengthy video there, about 30 minutes, where I explained everything that has to do with church live streaming. Which software, which computer, specs, capture cards, everything is there. So just go and watch that video. I took my time to explain that video, so I don't want to explain it again. Maybe I might even miss some other stuff, but I have a full video there. All right. What is the best all-round lens I can use on Canon M50? I think this is Bule Ntombela is asking. I think the best all-round lens for Canon M50, I would suggest the 24-70 f2.8. Since it's an APS-C sensor, at least it will give you like a field view of 29 millimeter, which is slightly wide, and by 70 maybe it will give you a focal length of 85 millimeter, which is really good for portrait. So I think the 24-70 millimeter f2.8, that will really be a good spot for an all-round lens of that camera. And then, looking sharp and cinematic, Professor Pedro. Thank you so much, Mr. Minister Joe Blow. Oh, Minister Joe, long time, long time. Minister Joe, man, they are the OG. When I had a workshop in Zambia, he was part of the workshop there. I love this man a lot. Evening, Mr. Lombebwa is asking, evening director, I'm watching from Zambia. All right, guys, I think this live is becoming long. Today, at least I've done some questions and answers. Let me just check TikTok before I leave. Maybe there are people answering questions there. Mr. J. Da Vinci, he says, I learn a lot from this channel. I learn a lot from you here in Canada. Thank you so much all the way from Canada. Prophet Tatenda followed the live stream creator. Thank you, Prophet Tatenda. Saving up for assistant. Thanks. That's great. Today we didn't have a lot of people on TikTok. Hey, man, there are a lot. All right. So I'm going to be live tomorrow. Just let me know in the comment section what you want me to talk about tomorrow. If we have to continue with this question and answer session, they are pretty helpful. Let me know in the comment section what you want me to talk about tomorrow. Mr. Wakili is asking, is Canon EOS 7D good for photography and videography? Very good. I've used that camera. Very good camera. Are you in the military? It will look good on you, I swear. Your dress code is fire. Yeah, guys, let me ask, what do you think about this uniform? It's pretty good uniform, you know? Yeah, I actually had hopes and dreams of becoming a mechanical engineer in the military, you know, specialized in the weapon division, creating rockets and flying, you know, those jets, stuff. That was my childhood dream. So sometimes I really miss it. I like military people. I actually trained to be a soldier for a year and a half at some point. And yeah, I couldn't just continue because there wasn't money for me to go to college and really pursue my career as a soldier. You know, this time I'm going to be a filmmaker in military. Thank you so much. Chelo Siamwampe, I like this. Love you always. I do enjoy it. Thank you so much. Christ Ara Guambi. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing. I'm terrible at pronouncing people's names. I'm watching from Mozambique. Which is the best between Canon M50 and 5D Mark II. For me, I think I would lean to the M50 because it has got the latest technology. 5D Mark II, that is a teenage of a camera, you know, it's a teenage of a camera. So for me, I would go with the M50. It's a mirrorless camera, you know, it's really good for both videography and photography, and also latest technology, dual autofocus system, face detection and stuff like that. All right, Franklin, thank you so much. Okay, I think I've answered a lot. All right, it's cool. I love the color balance advice you are teaching. Thank you so much. Q and answer session is good. So tomorrow we do another Q and answer session, right? No problem. Some of the questions that I haven't answered, maybe I'll carry them over to tomorrow's live. This live stream is becoming very long. Some people actually feel bad when they leave my live streaming because they feel like they're gonna miss something. At the same time, they want to sleep, so I don't want to keep people waiting. So I'll see you tomorrow again. This is Mr. Wise, over and out.